So some general graphing things. We have to put our own XY axis on pretty much every graph that we do because when it comes time to solve a problem, if there's not a graph there, we basically just get a giant piece of graph paper and we have to be able to put an X and Y axis on it. And we don't want to spend time like fixated on where the X and the Y axis is. They do not need to be in the center of the graph. Okay, I will often give you grids that don't have a center necessarily that you can use. And I encourage you just to put an X, Y axis on there. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight. It needs to be on a line as close as you can, but it doesn't need to be in the middle. And if your points go off the graph a little bit, whatever, okay? The one thing that I want to make sure that we talk about is we have to choose a wide pen when we are graphing things because we want to tap points. So what happens is if I have a thin little pen and I try to color a point in, sometimes it works. But if I go too long and I hold it still like that, it pops a box up and then it messes up what I'm doing. All right. So the solution to this is, and I have the shortcut on here, all right, for a wide pen. But if you don't have the shortcut, you need to pick one of these pens in the second from the right column. All right. So there's the highlighters in the far right column. You need one of those pens right there. I usually pick the black one and the red one. All right. Now, if I haven't shown you this before, how you add favorite pens up here is you just long press on one of them and then you put add to favorite pens and then that'll become one of your favorite pens. So now if I put favorite pen 7 in my bar, it would be that blue one. If I want to take one out, I'm not going to take one. I'm not going to actually do it, but I would long press on it and click remove this pen from list and it would take it out of there. So the pens that are in here are the pens that I want to use. Same thing with my highlighters. I don't have favorite highlighters in this for something, so it picks the first 4. But if I wanted my favorite highlighter number 1 to be purple, if you watch up in my taskbar here, yellow is my favorite highlighter. If I press on this one and said add to favorite pens, notice it changed my favorite one to purple. All right, so I can then go back in here, I can take it out, and it'll default back to the way that they are in there. But that's how you change those. I've had a video on it before. I have a big black pen right there, and I can just tap and put points wherever I want. I also have red because sometimes I need to be able to graph and tell the difference. Use those pens. If you don't, you're going to get very frustrated with graphing on here, and you're going to just be angry. And there's not anything we can do about it because the graphs need to be in your OneNote so we can deal with it, and you probably don't have graph paper lying around. I already said take your time plotting points. I'm not going to go over that again. All right, when I'm plotting new points, I want to list them. All right, we'll talk about this when we get to the problem. So graphing horizontal and vertical lines, I'm going to talk about this in number 5. I'm actually going to make sure that you definitely go there the first day we talk about this because we have to graph these lines. Y equals 2, X equals 3, lines like this. We have to be able to graph them correctly, and they're super easy to graph if you take your time. But if you try to memorize which way they go, it just doesn't work. And I'll talk about that in class, and there's a video on number 5 in case you don't pay attention to me or you're not there or you need a refresher. Watch that video.